Har Har Mahadev, Vanakkam. If you observe the market from like entire September, there was huge fall in US market which has led even Indian markets to fall. Nifty broke the all-time high and reached to 20,200, and after that it started falling. Now it has reached to 19,500 around. So why is that happening and what has led? So the basic one thing we all know is the hyperinflation in the entire globally, which has in US as well and India as well. So US Fed, that is Federal Reserve, who regulates these inflation things, they are keep on increasing the interest rates. How is that? Let's take for example RBI. Let's say RBI is the one who gives loan to all the other banks who are associated to like HDFC, SBI, ICICI, Axis. All the banks takes loan from RBI on a fixed interest rate. For example, let's take that is on 3%, and after that including everything they gives to customers for 6%, 7% depending on the loan type. So home loan, personal loan, education loan, car loan, where there are various types of that. But what if HDFC itself starts getting loan on a higher interest rate from RBI? So that is what they decide. So in US, I'll talk purely about US because that regulates the entire global market. So in the US now, that hike has increased to 5.5% from 3%. In COVID, when there was a COVID crash, when government were seeking money, they started money printing and they went like they started giving interest to at 0%. Why? They want money, they want person to spend because they need money. So with that 0%, when ordinary people like me and you and retailers have huge money on 0%, they started spending unnecessarily, which has led to inflation. Suppose I'm not doing anything and getting free of cost loan, what would I do? I'll definitely plan some irrelevant vacation, I'll start purchase car, whatever things. What that will do? That will increase the demand in the market, and when there is a when demand increases, if supply is limited and demand increases, the price also increases, which leaded to inflation. That is US. They have to regulate it. So inflation has it went around 7 to 7.5%. The target of inflation is to be 2%. Now there are two things going on majorly. I'll talk once that the Jammie Dimon, who is the CEO and Chief Executive of JP Morgan Chase. You all might have heard. If not, just search it. Being a trader, you all should be aware what is JP Morgan, what is Fed and all these things. So I'll give the article link in the description. You can check, you can read this, but I'll discuss mainly two things. One is this, the Jammie Dimon, this interest rate. He said that interest rate can go up to 7%. So now they are at 5.5%, and entire United States expecting this to go up only by like 0.25%, 0.25 points more. So 5.75 max, and after that they will keep the rate constant or they will start reducing it. But he has just said that no, interest rate may hike till 7%. Now imagine if RBI started giving loan to banks at 7%, at what rate they will do? They will give to the customers. So definitely it will be 11 or 12, basic 11, 12, or it can go up to 15, 16%. Now one more thing I'll discuss, that how does increasing this loan percentage interest rate is related to inflation. So imagine if I am getting loan at 0%, I'll take unnecessarily loan, or let's say I'm getting loan for just 1 or 2%. So I'll just take the loan. Let's take, and it's only 2%. We'll pay somehow, and I'll start spending unnecessarily. But if interest rates hikes, let's say I'm getting loan now at 15%, 17%, 18%. So I have to think about it. Already inflation is at massive rate, and I'll not take the loan. So what we are doing, we are just commanding people and citizens of a nation to not to spend much. How we can do? By increasing the interest rate. So everything is connected with the money, and if you start getting money at higher interest rate, definitely you'll you'll end up in expending less. So that's how we can control inflation. There is a lot I can talk about, but this is I guess more than enough for you to understand how interest rate is connected to inflation. So let's go and read this article. I'm not going to play the video, you guys can check if you want. So reading this will take a lot of time. So I have told you JP Morgan, he's a Chase CEO. The Jammie Dimon is CEO of JP Morgan. So the fight against elevated inflation, yes, most analysts say the central bank will raise interest rate just one more time by November. They are planning, they predict that only 5.25, it can't go beyond that. But he has said no, possibly he can, possibly Fed can hike interest rate up to 7%. 7% is huge. Imagine 7% interest in India and the 7% interest in US. So $1 is 83 rupees currently. So their currency is strong, yes, but if you can imagine, that is huge. 7%. Let's say you have taken loan of $10,000. $10,000 will be huge here if you turn it to rupee, and 7% is given by Fed. Now the bank will give you around 12 or 13%, definitely depending on the type of loan. So on $10,000, 14% interest. Can you imagine how much it is? The same feeling you can get in Indian rupee. You will definitely avoid to go for a loan. So I'm talking about the same thing. So yes, he says this possibility for the rate hike to be up to 7%. Now this would be the highest federal funds since December 1990. After December 1990, like it has never reached such number. In March 2022, when the current hiking began, rate were at 0.25 to 0.5%. See, from 0.25 to 5.25, almost 4 to 4.5% increase. Dimon was doubling down on comments he made last week in an interview with the Times of India, when he said the world is not prepared for 7% rates. Exactly. Now why I am telling you this with just one statement he gave in statement today or day before yesterday. Just see the fall in US market. So this is Nasdaq. I'll show you Dow as well. So this is where the market started. Okay, so it started here. I'll mark a line here. It went a bit up and then fall and then again recover a bit. Now gap down. Now see the fall. It's today the 3rd October and it's running. So can you imagine? And I'll show you the Dow as well. Nasdaq showed some recovery but nothing in Dow. See, from 29 September, it's not 29 September is a different thing. I'll tell you that as well. See from here, Dow is kept on bleeding. So with just one statement. And what the second thing is the shutdown of the current government over there. What is that? So every government has a limit, has a ceiling of expenditure. How is that? Imagine I'll explain you with a family member. Let's say we are two brothers, and if like for 1 year I have to run the family, and for next 1 year my brother has to run the company. I am elder, or just imagine I am elder and the next one is younger. So when I leaded the family, expenditure, yes, inflation were there, but expenditure were in control. But when my younger brother started taking control, what he did was his expenditure, when his expenditure were exceeding, he started taking loans, and there is a ceiling for loan. When that ceiling exceeds, definitely I'll oppose, because after 1 year I have to repay that loan, na. In any case I have to repay. Let's say if I have take over loans, I overloaded the country economy with the loans, various types of loan, definitely the next government has to pay. So being in opposition, I have to oppose that decision. So the same goes there. So there was a discussion going on. The current Biden government, they were exceeding that ceiling, which opposition were opposing for that. They went on many strikes and did very thing. So consolidating all, the US government were to go shut down for a month to discuss these things, like they will not be taking any decision, and that decision was postponed. Like, no, government will not shut down, we will operate, but this ceiling, this limit will be, decision will be postponed for next 45 days. So still threat is there, the bad news is still there, it has just got postponed. So I'll read this article for you. On late Saturday evening, the looming danger of US government shutdown was put to rest as President Joe Biden signed an interim budget agreement. Yes, the budget, expenditure budget has a ceiling. You should not go beyond that, because how will repay? Imagine and that too is not interest free. We have to pay the interest as well. But if you exceed the ceiling, you exceeded ceiling by some 5%, 10%. We are not talking about 1,000, 2,000 rupee specifically. We're talking about trillion dollars US things. So if you exceed that, how would next government would pay? So they have to oppose, and these all things will end up to the citizens. Everything will we have to see now. If the government is taking more loans, they will increase the tax thing, and the citizens have to pay that. So they were talking about that. So the revised agreement lowered support from Ukraine, a key agenda for White House that met resistance. Now, however, it has increased the federal disaster relief budget by 16 billion, satisfying Biden's complete proposal. The interim budget ensured government operation until November 17th. So yes, so it is just postponed for 45 days. So now this decision will be taking on 17th of November. I will give you the link of this article as well, and you guys can read if you want. Reading this would take a lot of time. So this is the primary reason why this is falling. Let's check SGX, what SGX is doing. See, it's also falling. Definitely we'll see a fall. Don't know if it recovered by the next 4 to 5 hours span. Can't say anything. Okay, that's it in this video. I just want to give you this news.